All right. Thank you for coming down today, Steve. It's great to catch up again after seeing you in Chiang Mai SEO a couple of months ago. Do you want to give the listeners on the Prosperity Media channel just a quick introduction to who you are? I know a lot of people know the SEO Notebook in Australia, but for anyone that doesn't know the SEO Notebook, I highly recommend they sign up. Do you want to give a quick little rundown of what you've done over the years and how did you get into SEO? And yeah, I know that you've had a lot of success in the last few years.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on, and yeah, it's great to catch up again. And Chiang Mai was awesome, so hopefully we can do that again next year. Um, in terms of who am I, super passionate about SEO, as you can imagine. Like a lot of us who are, really in the thick of it and attending conferences like that. But I got my start in 2010, just blogging actually at a company, was put in charge of the blog when blogging was a new thing and not many people were doing it. Just basically experimented with different ranking techniques on that blog and then parlayed that into a job at an SEO agency where I really fell in love and got to learn from some mentors there who worked side by side with me for several years. And really that kind of education was just unbeatable for me. And then more recently, like within the last, like, I guess, 5 or 6 years, I worked at FreshBooks for a couple years where we did really well with keywords like invoice template and all the long tails associated with that, and then also our resource hub, which did very well and ended up driving 50,000 clicks a day. Um, and then, from there, I launched SEO Notebook while I was still a full-time employee at FreshBooks. And, in that newsletter, essentially what I just aim to do is give people one actionable piece of strategy each week, which is just something you can almost take like an SOP and just go ahead and try to implement it. It's not the type of newsletter that's like a long form cerebral type thing, like maybe like a Corey or a Kevin Indig kind of thing, but something that's just super short and compact. And I actually publish my work through Notion. And if you sign up for that at SEOnotebook.com, you'll receive something new every week. And it's not just my strategies as well. It's also strategies that I pick up from different people. This month we're doing link building month, which is it has been awesome thus far. Getting tips from some of the best link builders in the industry. So try to have a good mix of content that goes on there. And then, just in my day-to-day, I own a consulting agency. We sort of a hybrid consultancy slash agency, work with B2B SaaS clients primarily. And I do that. I do promotion through the newsletter and advertising. And then I also have an event called SEO IRL, which will be in its fourth incarnation this year.
So wow, yeah, you've got a lot of stuff happening at the moment. Sounds like you're pretty busy. I mean, how many readers does the SEO Notebook have now? And I mean, what have you found the most successful to grow that newsletter apart from just creating great content? Because I know a lot of people in our agency, they're all signed up to it and they kind of check it out every day or to look for like ideas and things like that. Because sometimes there are like little gems in there, like something that you haven't heard of before or something that's worth testing. So I mean, how have you find it most successful? Is it just word of mouth, or has there been anything that you've tested like a paying for a paid newsletter or getting on a paid email or getting the right people to share it to like really turbocharge that growth?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the strategic things happened early on. I haven't done any paid marketing for it, but I was fortunate to get some really great testimonials from people who are highly respected in the industry. Those are people that I've worked with and I've helped myself. I've helped them and they've helped me. So, really hustling and grinding. And while I was working at FreshBooks, I really did my best to build my network at that time, because prior to that, I was just kind of at an agency and didn't really have much clout. But one of the other things that helped me a lot in the early days was Facebook groups. So I had put in a bunch of time into groups like SEO Signals Lab and just volunteered my own time to give insightful answers that essentially just helped people. And I did it without really any specific goal in mind. But when it came time to launch SEO Notebook, I already had like a base of people that, already knew me through those groups. They were ready to help me at that time. And I would say that happened earlier on. That happened like 1 to 2 years prior to SEO Notebook. But I also adopted similar strategies, just posting on LinkedIn, regularly, and also really sharing my story and who I was and like where I came from and what I'm doing, so that people, get a sense of not just, great SEO tips coming for your inbox, but actually people understanding that, I can also identify with me as being like an agency employee or an in-house employee, and taking the leap and becoming an entrepreneur. So those two things I would say help propel me. And these days, the main thing that I kind of hear, from people here and there is the stickiness of the idea, right? So like the idea that there's this notebook, it's not published on my website. You have to sign up to the newsletter, you have to sign up to the email list to get it. And it's very exclusive, right? If you miss it that week, you kind of miss it because unless I republish it. So that whole kind of secret notebook of strategies, I think resonated with a lot of people.
100%. I think anything that people have to sign up to and it's secret, like I've got an ex-employee who runs a business that's like a stock tips kind of email list, and people sign up to that to find like what stocks are trending in like social media and what's like the three or four biggest buys that day, and he does really well off that. So it's so true. Like if people want to sign up to something to get the latest and greatest tips, they can definitely do that. And back to your point about commenting on social media and different groups, 100%. I think even like paid Slack groups, like Traffic Think Tank, that's been really good over the years, getting involved with the community on there and just sharing and things like that, and like even on SEO signals with like Stephen Kang and all those guys, and getting involved in the community and helping people out. Even like the Authority Affiliate Lab group too, that's a really good one for affiliate
Yeah.
SEO.
Authority Hacker, another one too. Yeah.
Yeah, Authority Hacker is really great. Gail and Mark do a good job on all their different communities and the podcast and everything too. So it's a testament to getting involved in all that stuff. I remember back in the day, I used to be on the Moz blog commenting on different posts,
Yeah,
and
100%.
I think
Yeah.
no, that was a good way to
You used to get
get known.
points on it,
You
I
get,
think,
yeah,
right?
you used to get points. So like whoever was first to comment on the article and get upvotes with a good comment, used to get like really good, you get like these Moz points, and then they translated into, like you got swag and different clout in this leaderboard. So that always drove a lot of people to comment on the articles, and it was like a race to who could comment first. So yeah, it was that was good fun back in the day. But
Yeah, I know
that
some people slag Moz a little bit about being like too white hat and too like ideal or whatever, but man, their marketing in like the mid 2010s was just killer.
100%. Like they were definitely one of the original like SEO powerhouses back in the day. Like they were the number one spot for SEO news. And you're right, they were heavy on the white hat stuff, but they still had a lot of great people that were highly knowledgeable there. Like people like Russ Jones and Cyrus Shepherd and all these kind of different guys that and girls that worked there that were really yeah, really great at what they were doing. So yeah, I think they did get a little bit of negativity in the community for being too white hat, but I think there was a lot of people there that weren't 100% white hat too, that were actually
Oh yeah, for sure.
testing
Yeah.
things at scale, like yeah, like
Even
even
Rand, like at times, like off the record or, just here and there, like, his I remember he did a experiment where he was in front of a large audience and he told people to Google a specific keyword and then click position 8, and then we watched it go up and stuff like that. So he was, in the background, like read between the lines, like CTR manipulation. But
Mm.
he was just showing us like that this is a thing, and then letting you kind of make the connection on as to whether or not you wanted to leverage that in that way.
100%. Yeah, no, definitely. I think they were the original guys doing a lot of that stuff. I think they were some of the first people to kind of publish a lot of stuff about SEO. You know, back then a lot of people were talking to different SEOs on like Skype and different forums and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely changed. But back onto like your day-to-day activity for the clients that you're working on, like what are you seeing the most success with now? You know, I know I've heard that you're really great at generating traffic through like templatized content and things like that. You know, I've heard you've had a lot of success doing things like that. But like, what else are you doing to get success in SEO in 2024? You know, like, can you give away a few ideas of what you're up to? Like, what do you feel like is working well right now?
Yeah, I mean, people like the big buzzword is topical authority, and there's been a lot of people in our industry who've, helped popularize it. But I mean, this is something that dates back to many, almost I would say like well beyond a half a decade in terms of if you just call it comprehensively covering a topic, and now the buzzword topical authority. These are things that I've been doing for at least well over 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years. Like as I can kind of remember when I was at agencies, I used to always talk about, comprehensively covering a topic. It still works, right? And it has worked for a long time. So that first and foremost, I think is, the should be the basis of any content strategy or any SEO campaign. I mean, apart from obviously making sure your technical SEO is sound, that would be like strategically one of the things that I look for the most. And I just had a client of mine share some really great news about our projections for the blog and how we exceeded that. And then she also took a screenshot of the actual trials for this SaaS company. And I remember looking back at now, seeing that, I kind of took a retrospective of the campaign that we orchestrated for that client. And there was a lot of careful internal linking, really taking the topics that are semantically similar, going through everything with a fine-tooth comb, making sure this topic is linked to that topic, which then talks about this and then links to that. Those are that careful planning at the early stages and making sure that all your content is interconnected. I think that's extremely time well spent and something that we do on every campaign.
100%. You know, I remember many years ago, I was working in-house at a company called Virgin Mobile. I think Richard Branson potentially owned it many, many years ago. And I remember we were doing keyword research and we were looking at like the internal search on the website. And we just went through
Right.
the whole internal search for like the last few years and looking what people were searching that they didn't have content on the website for. And, you know, and like making pages for things like that, you know, and like phones that they didn't have and making alternative pages and just answering Q&A data and things like that, you know, and then talking to like the sales team and making content based off like what were the common like objections sales teams were having. Like that was like back in 2009 or something, you know. So I think like you're right. Like the topical authority stuff, it's not new. I think like maybe it's just new to some people, but like making like covering a full topic and not just relying on like keyword data,
Keyword
I think
research.
it
Yeah.
yeah, like so many SEOs just rely on keyword data, you know, like even
Cluster hrefs, cluster export hrefs, cluster with whatever tool you like, or use hrefs clustering tool and call it a day. Yeah, that's not
Oh, a hundred
topical authority.
percent. You know, like someone even yesterday said to me, "Can you check out this SEO activity someone's been doing?" And basically it was for like they're a business coach, and the keyword research was like business coach Sydney, business coach Melbourne, business coach Brisbane. It was like 10 keywords that this person had come together with, and then they sent me their link building, and it was like social bookmarks and things like that. I was like, this is complete trash. Like, whoever's done this, it looks like they spent about 2 minutes just jumping into a keyword tool, dumping that, and that was like their whole SEO strategy. And the thing is, like I said, you're gonna have to like come up with something far more comprehensive if you want to get results in 2024, because you're not going to be able to compete. There's actually bigger players that are doing things far more sophisticated than like what they're doing. So yeah, it's they've got a lot to work on. But yeah, I mean that's definitely, you're right. Like I think people have got to put in the work, and I know if you put in the work, it can definitely pay off in the long run, like in getting the internal links right, getting that user research done, it's so important.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the internal search because after like I mentioned link building month this month on SEO Notebook, and I'm trying to think about, what's my first note going to be in February, and it was going to be about that because a prospect of mine actually supplied me with that data, and it was like, it's super rich data, right? It's not like you're not going to find that in any keyword research tool, like, some just if anybody else is curious, like other places you can look, ask your client to um, ask the sales team, like what are the popular questions that the sales team gets asked, or looking in people also ask, Google Search Console, internal search. These are all really great places where we can get these types of ideas, right? So those are, some of the non-traditional places where we can source that type of data. But yeah, it's just funny that you mentioned that.
100%. Like I think people just sometimes don't go back to basics. Like internal search has been around forever, but people just don't think about it being a keyword rich kind of area where you can pick up a lot of great data. And that's like a first call for someone who's on a website and they can't find something. And I remember like some of the alternative pages and things like that we made. They really crushed it from a conversions point of view. But yeah, it's like there's so many things you can do. Even like people say like look at like Reddit and like look at like what keywords Reddit's targeting. The one thing that we've been doing for a while as well is actually just looking at like local forums in Australia. Like in Australia, there's this forum called whirlpool.net.au. It's like a tech forum. So we go on there and like we put that into Ahrefs and find out like what are some good content ideas that people are asking on that forum, because it's like a forum with hundreds of thousands of people and it's super active. And the thing is, if that's ranking, like, and the clients like prospects or any general public is asking questions on there, you can see that topics and you can basically put them on through content strategy, and it definitely converts too. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's so many things like that you can do. You could do a keyword research month on the notebook.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely. Hey, thanks for the idea. Maybe we can have you do a guest one.
Yeah, like this month you got link building. You could have keyword research. You could do that, and then you could get keyword tools to get involved and things like that. Because there's so many, like keyword research is so important for SEO. Like I think like it's one of those areas that like some people brush over, but it's one of those things that you have to get right. You know what I mean? Because if you're too quick with it and you do like a low quality job, it can really cost the campaign.
Yeah, 100%. Like we were actually on a call yesterday with one of our new clients. It's a personal injury law firm, and we were talking about truck accidents. And there's like 7 or 8 different ways that people call trucks, right? Like semis, 18-wheeler, cube van. Like there's like a billion like different nomenclatures for trucks, right? And like that's the kind of thing where if you're only discussing one or two, you're probably missing, a host of them that are out there, right? And then like, just in your example of the kind of BS strategies that with the social bookmarks or the the very basic keywords. It's like I really empathize for clients knowing what's good and what's not because these deliverables they just come in a Google Doc or a PDF and they all look impressive from the outset, but it's like how do you actually tell if you're not in SEO whether this is any good or not, right? So I think that's when people start to look at the personalities behind the company, like yourself or like me, like actually looking at does that person who's at the architect or like the person who's the visionary behind the company, like do they actually know what they're talking about? Can they communicate effectively? Because there's just so many things that can go wrong with client SEO. You can also have the greatest SEO in the background, but if that person doesn't know how to communicate to you and get you excited and bought into what they actually want to do, it's never going to get done, right?
100%, like yeah, I think you're right. Like you can be the best SEO in the world, but if you can't get corporate buy-in at a company and you can't get your recommendations through to the dev team or past legal or just dealing internally, like that you're not going to get the results that you could get. Like corporate communications is so important, and I think a lot of people struggle with that. Like SEOs are like notorious for like being a bit like they don't want to get on the phones or they just want to kind of be a little bit underground and just get the results. But I think, yeah, especially in the enterprise space, you have to be a good communicator because, yeah, a lot of our clients, it's like mid to enterprise level kind of work. So yeah, we really try to get into businesses and prioritize SEO. And I saw you posted the other day that you said you had a client that you work for get like a promotion off the back of the work that you're doing, like stuff like
Yeah,
that. Like that. That's
so rewarding.
that's so gold when you see like a client gets like a promotion. Off the back of the SEO activity that you've done, results in the company, and like at the end of the day, even if that client leaves and goes somewhere else, like the first thing they're going to do when they get at the new company, they're probably going to pick up the phone and call you because they remember the great work that you did and you got the promotion for them and things like that. So I think, yeah, it's like it's aligning with the client's KPIs. So many SEOs don't even ask in like onboarding calls, like what are your
Right.
KPIs,
Yeah.
like because like that's like a basic question you can ask, like what are your KPIs this year? Like let's try to get aligned to what the marketing director's KPIs are or the in-house SEO, like what are they getting KPI'd on, and try to put that as like an OKR like thing like that in the goals of the campaign, like, and then if you're aligned on that and you're driving to get the results in the campaign like that, that is going to be powerful to get you renewed on the project and just to
Also
show
get you on
value.
the project.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, like to get corporate buy-in, because I think one thing that people don't remember, like SEO people, and this is something that I've heard over the years, and it's so true. But like when you're dealing with like a marketing manager or director or someone like that, SEO might only be 5 or 10% of their job. You know what I mean? They've got 90% of their job that they're doing other stuff, So you gotta remember, like, you gotta value their time and you gotta try to work out what are their goals and how you can achieve those goals. Like goal setting at the start of campaigns is so crucial. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and also 5% of their budget in some cases too, right? So you have to be respectful of that.
Oh yeah, 100%. And SEO definitely doesn't get the big budgets like other channels get. Like we have clients that say, oh, they're spending like millions a month on like Google ads and Meta ads and
Absolutely.
just everything, and then SEO, like you're fighting for like a budget. So I think if you can show value and show ROI, like we had a client last year say they got 900 times ROI on their SEO spend. So when you hear
Yeah.
stuff like that, and it's not a small client, it's like a 200-person business. So yeah, they're pretty happy when you hear stuff like that. So yeah, I think yeah, just setting goals and campaigns is so crucial.
Yeah, I think, but at the same time, we have to also be understanding that the client, every time they hire a new SEO, they're placing a bet, right? Like they're not going to get immediate feedback the first month of their, or even the first weeks of their PPC campaign, right? They're not,
Exactly.
they're going to be operating in with a big question mark for months, right? So that's what you said, like that goal setting and that expectation setting, showing the client that there's a tangible roadmap here and checking in on the progress of that campaign. All those things are super important, as we know. And you know, if you're looking to do, you know, SEO consulting on your own, that's a big thing that you have to practice, not just your SEO skills, but how do you communicate that in the early stages, especially.
100%. I know Tom Critchlow has a few great courses on like the SEO MBA. Then he's got like a communication course. I think those kind of courses are like a must for anyone like doing in-house or big enterprise jobs because there's definitely a lot of great tips in those kind of courses and things like that. We try to get all of our team to just go over that type of content and pick up little bits and pieces. I think it's yeah, if you can pick up a few really good tips from a course and it's going to help you with your job and things like that, it definitely makes a lot of sense. But I mean, to change the topic a little bit, Steve, like, what are you doing from like an AI point of view at the moment? What are you doing with like Chat GPT or any other tools? Are you using that as part of your workflow? Like, are you like how are you doing that?
Yeah, well, I'm glad we got the chance to talk about that because, as we mentioned, that's the hot topic, right? So that's going to be the lead of the the title of this video, right? AI, and just skip ahead to 30 minutes in. No, but yeah, I'm well, we work extensively with the OpenAI API, just creating different scripts and tools to essentially leverage things like outline creation, for example. So, some of the stuff that we do doesn't see us expressly asking ChatGPT to go ahead and create a content outline, but more or less like complementing the way we've always created outlines and saving time in that respect without going into all of my processes. But yeah, I just got a bill from OpenAI the other day, and I edited the amount of my API bill to $67 million, and then I got
I
like
saw
all
that.
these people messaging me, wondering it. But realistically, it's in the hundreds of dollars, so it's we're actively using it quite a bit. Everyone on my team has their own ChatGPT account. We can use it for things like bridging like semantically related topics. So you can give it like a whole list of topics and help me know which ones sort of will go together. We also use GPT for Sheets, which is a fantastic tool, which essentially just brings, the GPT functionality into a spreadsheet. So we can plan internal linking that way. We can do things like generate anchor text with GPT. That's going to be, highly relevant and related to the pages. Yeah, we're using it all the time. But one of the things that has concerned me is seeing some like LinkedIn posts, and I've actually been a little bit vocal about this lately on LinkedIn, that people are literally just saying, chat GPT, create a content strategy for me, chat GPT, do keyword research for me. And I think that people looking for the easy button are ultimately going to pay the price, because a lot of these, like, if you think about it, we've only been in the age of chat GPT and using their API and stuff for about a year. And, a lot of people are just, starting to catch on to it now. So they haven't even had, a 9 to 12 month SEO campaign where they've actually been able to prove any results from using AI, right? So I think there's a little bit of like, obviously it's possible if you began in the early stages with, things like Jasper and whatnot. But I think a lot of people are just getting into this and thinking that now, ChatGPT is literally just something you can just ask it to create a blog article about X or create a 3 month content strategy about Y, and thinking that this is the way you do SEO. It's it's problematic.
100%, I agree. And I think like as we talked about earlier, like I think looking at things like internal search and like using creativity to kind of come up with content strategy and like just getting on phone calls and stuff like that. ChatGPT isn't going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's going to maybe help with writer's block, or it's going to help with like getting some basics done. But when you're working in like more sophisticated niches like medical and finance and insurance, and there's heavy regulations, you definitely don't want to be relying on things like ChatGPT to write content, because I've seen people do that, and some of the facts and statistics and things that it pulls up, they're not relevant for the Australian market. People aren't really checking things. I think anyone that's using this type of stuff, you do need an element of like someone to come in and quickly edit stuff and ensure that it's all factually correct. I think back to your point, like people just jumping in and writing content, especially for competitive keywords, what's stopping multiple people having very similar content for the same type of articles and things like that? That is an issue of everyone using like content auditing tools, like Surfer, if like all of the top 10 in the niche are using the same content auditing tool, like you might have results that are very similar, and that's why I think on the Authority Hacker podcast the other day, they mentioned like differentiation, websites looking different in the SERPs, like things that are a bit different from like competitors, different in a UX point of view. I definitely feel like that's true. Like I've seen that in a lot of affiliate niches where some sites that are quite different to the standard kind of design and standard article ranking are doing well, where sites that are just very similar are dropping back. So I think
Well, it's a
that
problem for Google, right? It's a problem for
exactly.
Google if all 10 results are saying the same thing, and person is clicking back on one result and then they go to the next one, it's like the exact same information, and then they click back and then the same thing. Like that's a to me a problem. Like and that's where some of this like information gain, looking at like actually having a real subject matter expert lend point of view, to the article that's not found on your average page. Those are the things that are ultimately going to help you get links, because your content is actually much better than anybody else's, and it's going to help you convert.
Yeah, 100%. I think if you've got unique data and statistics and you can put that in your content, and competitors don't have that, anything that's unique and stands out, that's going to be important. But I think it's also coming down to the design too. So many sites look so similar, like same
Hmm.
template, same footprints, like just same everything. And I think, yeah, if you do invest in being different in 2024, I think it's going to pay off, like especially those sites that are going the extra mile. That's just my feelings. And just from what I've
I think
seen
that's
in,
a very smart call out. People don't pay enough attention to UX and the feel, and so many people scan. And if your page is laid out with like super wide margins and like the small font and all that kind of stuff, like these are just the easy wins that you can implement, but so many people look over them.
100%, and like I was just thinking about some of the roles that we got at the moment for our agency, and and we're hiring like a data person. We're trying to work more with like UX consultants, like definitely trying to go down that road, like I think it's so important, like to be different in 2024. Like I think if you're just doing the same thing that all of your competitors are doing, I think you're not going to be able to get results. I think it's just going to be too similar. Like people will get the same links as well. They'll get the same links. They'll have similar content, have similar design. Like similar menu structures. It's just yeah, like it's just crazy. Like, and that's the thing. Like, and that's one thing with link building as well. And this is one thought that I've always had over the years. Like, if you just get those links that are easy to get, like anyone can get, the value of those links are going to be low. Like a hard to get link is always going to be better. You know, that's why things like digital PR or just manual old school outreach to hard to get onto sites, you know, that they're still so valuable.
Yeah, it's like those, like I'm never a fan of like Web 2.0 type of link building, but I mean, that's only effective when you're literally going against somebody who has nothing, right? So like you said, build 10 really great links through outreach or digital PR or some other method that's more hard to come by, and you've blown them out of the water already. I actually was just going to mention as well that I lost a client because I told them that their blog layout sucked, and they were like, and it was like, there's no way we're changing our blog layout. You're just do your job. Just do the strategy, and that's it. And I said, like, I'm sorry, but I would not link to this page. I would not want to read this page. And I think the point that I'm not even sure if I was able to make it, but we're so used to apps like Gmail, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, polished apps and experiences that the expectation of the average user is raised no matter who you are, right? You're expected to compete on the UX level of a Facebook or a Twitter, right? And your website has to reflect that.
100%, you know, and I think the thing is like for small businesses, like this stuff's hard. You know, like you're not going to be able
Yeah,
to go and
true.
hire a UX company or hire UX staff and things like that. And but for medium sized to enterprise level businesses, it's definitely something to start thinking about. I think, yeah, that's the problem with small business SEO. Like people are still probably doing that social bookmarking stuff. People are doing like really basic templates, you know, like downloaded from wherever, not changing much, and you know, and they, yeah, it's a tricky area, 100%. And yeah, I mean, like, where do you see the future of SEO too? You know, like to kind of wrap up the interview, Steve. Like, where do you see the future of SEO going? Like, like how do you see the future? Do you feel like it's moving into some of the stuff that we've talked about, or something totally different? You know, because I know some people are worried about the rise of AI. Some people are just worried about like Google's
SGE. Yeah.
SGE, like changing the layout and less clicks for SEO. Where do you
Yeah.
see
I
the
mean,
future?
Kevin Indig went on record saying that he doesn't, and I hope I'm getting him exactly right, but I did read his article, something along the lines of Google won't launch SGE until there's a serious threat from another company doing an AI search engine that's beginning to take away market share from Google. And I 100% agree with that. There's absolutely no benefit to Google releasing SGE site wide, or it's not site wide, worldwide. And you think, hey, they've made announcements, we're rolling it out to 180 more countries or whatever. All that is in Google Labs. That's like, a fraction of the percent of their actual user base. So the way that I look at the future of SEO is that SEO will continue to be viable. And the thing that will eventually kill SEO is people who stop using Google to find information, right? So I think as long as Google's users are growing and healthy, then I think SEO has a great future.
Yeah, and I think like even if people stop using Google, like they're going to move to other search engines, you know, like YouTube, Amazon, shopping
Fair
websites,
enough.
and
Yeah.
there's going to be still an opportunity to optimize for like different shopping sites, you know, and that's like something we do as well, you know. It's like we try to uncover like what are the ranking factors on different marketplaces and shopping sites, and because some of them have their own like little ranking factors and weight to different things, and that's definitely something that we've been doing a lot over the last few years with some bigger clients too, is just trying to, yeah, reverse engineer ranking factors on other marketplaces, you know, and other search engines, you know, and try to,
Yeah. I mean, it's a totally fair point, but I mean, like, also think about this, right? I've got all these libraries of SOPs. I've got a million and one contacts for link building, for content writing, for this, that, and the other. All my network and all my time and energy and investment over these past 14 years of being an SEO has been focused on ranking on Google, right? So if I've got to now learn how to rank on TikTok or rank on Amazon or rank on wherever, we're essentially starting from ground zero, which is going to present challenges.
100%. Yeah, and it's the same with us, like we've been in business for many years, like our agency for over 11 years, and like you build up all those SOPs and they a lot of them are for Google. Because I think the thing is at the end of the day, like Google is a little bit more sophisticated in its ranking factors than some of these other sites. Some of the other sites, like the ranking factors are super basic, so
Fair
you
enough,
can,
yeah.
yeah, you can
But
test
also,
it
where's my passion, right? Like my passion is on Google. My, pa
100%.
my passion does not lie on ranking on Amazon.
100%. And at the end of the day, like there's still so much money to be made ranking on Google for clients and for affiliate sites and things like that. Like the market shares is so high and like the Google still converts so well, and like you see so many people that are moving away from like Facebook and things like that because they just don't see the same conversion value, And I saw something like the other day and it was just talking about how ad costs have just gone up on every platform too. It was like in the last year, I saw some data and it was like
Everything,
Facebook
yeah.
ads 208% increase, like Google ads 182% increase, and like it's really going up. So I think things like that, like the increasing in ad costs. And the increase in how easy it is to do ads. Like it's so easy to set up ad campaigns now. Like you can jump onto Google Ads and Meta, and it's easy to run campaigns. So the market, the competitive landscape, anyone can run an ad. Like your
Yeah,
competitive
that
advantage
has
there.
helped drive up the cost. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, and your competitive advantage is quite low, because like it's whoever can spend more at the end of the day, and some businesses can do like loss leading campaigns and things like that. Whereas SEO, there's still that level of creativity. There's still different ways you can stay competitive. So I think, 100%, like, I think, people should just still be investing in SEO. And I can't see it changing for the next 5 years plus. I think there's still going to be a lot of opportunities. But yeah,
Yeah, really, I mean, this conversation has been totally fun and like thought provoking. And I hope that, if anybody's watching this, they can leave comments and ask as well. But yeah, I think, it's really difficult for any of us, no matter how experienced we are, to really know where things are going. But I think what we can do is draw upon the past and, the writings on the wall once we see featured snippets or Panda, Penguin, or whatever. These big helpful content update even now, right? Like we've always rebounded from these things, right? So I think it's important to have that context. And if you Google SEO is dead, it's like going up every year, and it's just been a constant narrative. But hey, we're still here. Here we are, having
a
fun,
hundred
making money.
percent, a hundred
Yeah.
percent. I think you're so true. But no, thank you for coming on today, Steve. Really appreciate your time. I highly recommend everyone signs up to SEOnotebook.com. It's one of the best resources for SEO online. Some of the tips that are shared are really great. Like this week they've got this whole month they've got the link building tips coming through, but just every month there's something new, and you can definitely pick up little tips that are really good. So I highly recommend everyone signs up to that. And yeah, give Steve a follow online, all socials. Where can people reach out to you on what's the best way? Twitter, LinkedIn?
Probably LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm on it, but I'm not active. So LinkedIn or Facebook, actually. Yeah, or Steve at SEOnotebook.com if you have something to reach out directly on.
Beautiful. No, thank you. Thank you for your time, Steve. It's been a good conversation. Yeah, we'll share this with the Prosperity viewers.
Thanks.